Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me in this session. My name is Hatem Mabrouk. I'm a professor of international business at Tecnológico de Monterrey. It's the #1 university in Mexico and Latin America, according to QS rankings. I'm also the blockchain leader of Geneva Business School, Center of Digital Evolution, and I use interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary approaches for my research, based on which I would like to share with you the findings of one of my latest research on artificial intelligence governance. And the title for today's session is CISG, Smart Contracts, AI Governance and Trade. Without further ado, please allow me to start by explaining first what is a CISG, right? So a CISG, this is a treaty that was developed by the United Nations in order to manage the international trade in goods contracts between buyers and sellers. It's a framework that is so beautiful, many countries can start implementing it within their contracts, buyers and sellers. And this brings us to a multi-billion-dollar industry, which is international trade. Now the question is, speaking about CISG, how can we ensure that artificial intelligence is going to be integrated wisely so that we have a mechanism that is CISG compliant when it comes to contracted drafting? When I say legal industry, this could mean criminal law, civil law, international law, commercial law, public law, private law, torts, and then we have international contract drafting. And the best template that we can rely on is the CISG for international contracting between buyers and sellers. Now the question is, can I actually train an AI that is capable in drafting CISG compliant contracts? I mean, that's the first research question, right? Can I create a model, and through this model, or an agent, and through the agent, after training, am I capable to render a real CISG contract that is fully UN compliant? And the answer is yes. We are very happy to take it further by asking another question. Can you have a coded contract on the blockchain reflecting the real CISG contract? So you have a real contract that is signed by the buyers and sellers, but you also have a coded copy recorded on the blockchain as well, reflecting in the entirety of the original contract, right? Can AI become capable in doing both tasks efficiently, right? I mean, this is a question. So we want to discover what were, the findings of our research, and we put our work into action. We had the research question, right? And after the research question, we had our methodology. And the methodology was all about training an agent on CISG and asking the same agent to create a smart contract reflecting the CISG contract as well, right? Now the results and the findings are really astonishing, in my opinion, because I'm an international business lawyer as well, and I teach international business. So we put this into a test. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, what you see in front of you now is the Remix Integrated Development Environment on the Ethereum blockchain. What you see now, as you can see, let me actually use the laser. This is the buyer's address on the blockchain. This is the total price in euro. This is the unit price. And this is the ISO certification. This is the tolerance percentage, and delivery deadline 30 days. Now, all of these terms and conditions, they are, if you are a lawyer, you're going to be acquainted with those terms easily. They are actually, very common. Now, what's amazing about this is that you can actually input that information based on the real contract. And the next step is going to be to click transact in order to record this information on the blockchain itself. So you're going to have a hard copy contract signed by both, or maybe a digital copy contract signed by both the buyers and sellers, but you also have an immutable copy on the Ethereum blockchain, immutable copy. I say that again, recorded on the blockchain of Ethereum, reflecting the same terms and conditions of the buyer and seller original contract, right? Now, what happens when we click transact? I mean, I don't know, let's see together actually, but I think I missed the slide, which is, there is one slide here that I missed it, and it was actually reflecting the CISG sample of a real contract, and that was a check. Like everything from a legal perspective was actually CISG compliant from the AI agent that we trained it on the United Nations Convention on International Sales of Goods. Now, when I click transact, what do I see? And I don't know if there's a glitch here, but let me explain to you the next step, which is you're going to be able to read from the contract and write on the contract itself recorded on the blockchain. What do I mean by read and write? When I say read, it means I receive recorded information. So if I would like to verify that you are the buyer, I can actually, with a couple of clicks, I can actually receive confirmation that you are the buyer. I can receive this confirmation. And the right part of the smart contract that got generated is to input information. What do I mean by input information? It means notifications. For example, goods received. I can actually write a notification that says goods received on the blockchain. I can say letter of credit received. I can say payment received. I can say raise a dispute. And depending on this word, I can make actually a dispute notification. Okay, I can raise a dispute notification on the blockchain. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please do not forget that the mastermind behind this code on the blockchain is actually artificial intelligence. So what we did in our research is that we used artificial intelligence to create a real contract, CISG compliant, and a coded smart contract on the blockchain, and both worked, right? So let's see actually this beautiful checklist. What you see right now in this checklist are the aspects that artificial intelligence was capable in doing. Okay, so this is the good news. And ladies and gentlemen, 5 years ago, if I look at this screen, if I go back in time, I would remember paying so much money, and consuming so much time in order to actually have a smart contract that is efficient, and tested by not only I, but a team as well. So right now, with one single click for an AI agent, I can actually create all of that with a couple of clicks. 5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I was not capable of doing this alone. I needed to have a team, right? I needed to have time in order to test the code. I needed to have time in order to see how efficient it is, what kind of capabilities it has. And by the end of the day, welcome to our, era of artificial intelligence. Nowadays, we are capable of doing so in a couple of clicks, right? It's really fascinating. But let me ask you a question, because this is a dialogue, and I would like to ask any of the audience, please help me out. Do you see anything missing in the checklist? Anything that AI was not capable of doing? I need volunteers. Incoterms, right? Excellent. FOB, CIF, right? Okay. Now, the Incoterms, fortunately, sir, I can actually have it as, part of the original code input of the contract itself. So that can actually be done by asking AI to take into account Incoterms, right? So if AI is going to take into account Incoterms, that's still a problem solved, right? Now, the challenge here is, thank you very much. Any other volunteers? Any other volunteers? Anything missing? Yes.
You are talking about contract between buyer and seller.
Absolutely.
My thought, maybe in international trade context,
Yes.
We need also some stamp from the other bodies. Yes.
We need international organization oversight, right?
Exactly.
Amazing. Okay, so there is something missing. I mean, unfortunately, nothing is perfect. And the question of whether AI can replace lawyers entirely, for those who wish for this to happen, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, right? So there are gaps. Now, let me share with you those gaps, right? There's something wrong with my clicks, but I'm going to carry on from what we discussed just now. In order for AI to work from a professional and legal perspective, we need to have legal judgment, and legal judgment, it means that we have a judge putting himself or herself in the shoes of a reasonable man when it comes to deciding upon a case. I need to feel the buyer and the seller, and this is something that AI unfortunately is not capable of doing as we speak, right? But this is point number one. Point number two, we need negotiations that happen externally, outside the context of blockchain technology and artificial intelligence. This cannot happen with one single click, unfortunately. So negotiations, mediation, conciliation, I mean, all of these aspects, they happen externally. So the commercial aspects and the negotiations, they happen externally. Now, there's another thing related to institutional oversight, and that is when it comes to settling disputes, for example. I mean, anybody familiar with international commercial arbitration? Thank you very much. International commercial arbitration, this is the best way to settle a dispute between a buyer and a seller that goes beyond the traditional courts, right? It's faster, in some cases cheaper. It depends on the institute that is doing the arbitration. And you can have a say on who is going to be the expert judge that is deciding upon my case. Now, how can I do this within the ecosystem of blockchain technology and artificial intelligence? It's impossible. It's impossible as we speak. So you might have a contract that is recorded on the blockchain and powered by artificial intelligence, but that doesn't mean that you can entirely replace lawyers, judges, and institutions just because of the fact that you're so good at drafting contracts. That was the answer that we actually sought at the end of the research, because we wanted to discover what are you capable of doing versus what is missing, so that we are happy by filling the gaps as lawyers, right? So at the end of the research, we discovered that there is a formula, actually. I mean, in order to answer this beautiful question, can AI replace lawyers? We need to have a specific formula. Now, that formula is artificial intelligence plus human oversight, which is lawyers, plus institutional oversight, which is government, and international commercial arbitration centers, right, is going to be equal trusted international trade, which is perfection when it comes to AI governance. Okay, so it's like a formula. Ladies and gentlemen, AI is not an enemy. AI is a friend. AI is a team player. AI is a tool, after all, that I can use in order to excel at my work. At the end of our discussion, I would like to mention that the future is bright, but there will be severe competition when it comes to AI agents. It's going to be my agent versus your agent. Those who have better agents are going to be those who are going to be promoted faster, in their jobs. Those who are using better agents are going to easily beat competition just because of the fact that they have better agents. It's not going to be anymore who has a better Lamborghini or Rolex watches. It's going to be who has a better agent. Who has a better AI agent that is helping myself when it comes to my job, right? So I usually tell my students at the university, take those tools and enrich yourself with knowledge, because the moment you hit work, you're going to be competing with colleagues. You're going to be competing with colleagues at work. These tools are going to be your superpower. These are going to be your superpower, differentiating you from another colleagues at work. While they are panicking to finish at a specific deadline, my students are going to finish in 5 minutes. Why? And they're going to have finishing the job with a relaxed cup of coffee and doing some fiesta afterwards and partying because they finished early, right? On the other hand, those who are not using artificial intelligence properly are going to be left behind, unfortunately. And yes, they are going to panic. And unfortunately, this includes all industries, not only lawyers in our sense, but this includes all industries. I remain at your I remain at your service for questions, but the research is going to be published soon as part of the European Journal of Law Reform. Currently it's in print, and if you would like to have access to the entire paper, please feel free to get in touch through LinkedIn or by email. This is my LinkedIn QR code. Then we have Hatem.Mabrouk at tech.mx, that's my email. And more than that, if you use LinkedIn in order to post an image, a screenshot about this session that we have just finished, please do so and tag me in LinkedIn. In exchange, I'm going to share with you my agent, the one I used for the research, right? So one tag equal free agent in order for you to use and discover yourself the CISG contracts that gets generated through the agent, plus the fully executable smart contract as well that you can use its code on the blockchain. Without further ado, I would like to welcome some questions. Please go ahead. This is, after all, a dialogue, so I'm very happy to ask and answer some doubts. Please.
It's a technical question.
Yes.
Is the blockchain part of the agent also or outside the agent?
Yes. No. That's a tricky question. Now, the agent itself, what the agent is doing is that they are giving you a fully executable code, right? So you can copy the code and you can use Remix, like I showed you a while ago. And you can copy and paste the code in Remix so that the contract is going to be deployed on the blockchain, right? So the agent itself is not able yet to interact with directly with blockchain technology, but it's able to create a code. What's impressive about the code is that the code is reflecting the real contract that got generated, that is CISG compliant. So we take the code, we execute it on the blockchain, and we test it, and it was a surprise. It was a very big surprise. But thank you for the question. Thank you. Yes, please.
I mean, I think one aspect that's going to be fascinating is on major contracts, how agents are used to assess bids. When you've got a competitive bid,
Yes.
and you're looking at, not just the cost, but many criteria to select that main contract.
Yes.
What you ask the agent to check and mark and appraise, because you can skew that any way you like.
Absolutely.
And how that's controlled and audited and everything ethically around that is going to be absolutely fascinating.
I have to admit, it's going to be mind-blowing. Those people who are using artificial intelligence, witnessing its transformation of different industries, they are, in my opinion, the ones that are going to flourish in the future. I witnessed the same thing when it comes to blockchain technology. We started from scratch with cryptocurrencies, and then we went into smart contracts. That was a revolution. And then we went into NFTs, right? Art getting sold over the internet. And then we had a whole supply chain ecosystem that is recorded on the blockchain for international trade purposes. We see banks starting to use, blockchain technology, Hyperledger Fabric, Ethereum, etc. And we are witnessing a lot of transformation when it comes to those industries. I feel grateful that I witnessed that transformation from scratch since 2009 with blockchain technology. But then you have artificial intelligence, and then you tell yourself, okay, am I going to stop until blockchain, or should I integrate artificial intelligence with the technologies that I mastered, right? Mm-hmm. And it becomes really fascinating. Ladies and gentlemen, this is real power we're talking about. It's real power. This is something that I'm really fascinated with. And I definitely encourage all of you to explore step by step, like we say in Mexico, poco poco, step by step. And enjoy the experience, enjoy the road, no need to rush. Just watch, okay, today I learned this, tomorrow I'm gonna learn this. Every day I'm powerful. After tomorrow I'm gonna integrate this kind of technology. And this is what I tell my students every single day. So yes, and the future is bright. I'm pretty sure when I look at my students. Please.
Hi, I wanted to ask, what is the legal validity of these smart contracts, or I guess the automated contracts across jurisdictions?
Yes.
And second question, follow-up to that is, what other legal frameworks, either domestically or across borders, would be required for this to be recognized? For example, digital recognition of digital signatures, etc. I think UNCITRAL has kind of a model law on automated contracts, but I'm not quite sure how many countries have actually adopted something like that.
Yeah, there are thousands. We started with, when it comes to supply chain, we started with a project that went really viral. It's called Trade Lens. Unfortunately, it's not working anymore because it was really costly. It was an initiative by IBM and Maersk, the shipping company. I actually used the platform itself in order to teach it to my students at the time. It was fascinating. But then Trade Lens shut down their operations, unfortunately, using smart contracts. And we had others, and we had IBM taken, initiative on Hyperledger Fabric in order to have blockchain implementations for supply chain purposes. Different programs, different companies getting integrated together in order to make this work. There are many examples. I can tell you for sure that when it comes to institutional authority, right? Take a look at my university example. The students, when they graduate, the certificates and the diplomas, they are recorded on the blockchain. Who is the one giving the authority on the blockchain that these diplomas are authentic? It's Tecnológico de Monterrey, the university, right? And I feel very proud that we are the first university, actually in Mexico, that implemented blockchain technology for students' diplomas for graduation purposes. Now, there are many law firms working with banks as well in order to verify letters of credit through smart contracts. You're going to find out that this happens through agreements. So, for example, you need the agreement of a bank in order to become a party in a Hyperledger Fabric to make notifications saying payment received. So the bank is going to be one of the parties that is going to make this notification on the blockchain after agreement with buyers and sellers and supply chain players as well, right? These agreements, they often happen. Right now, I'm trying to remember a legitimate example, but my mind is very tired, I don't know why. But there are many examples, especially for supply chain purposes of a global collaboration, including, banks and industries and factories and firms and farmers as well, in one global ecosystem with smart contracts to notify others on the process getting recorded on the blockchain. So it's really astonishing, and I hope that answers the question. And I apologize, I cannot remember right now a specific detailed example about this global supply chain. But Trade Lens was one of the biggest. Trade Lens was huge. Yes, I think there was a question here. Thank you.
I wanted to ask you a question about the tolerance. You had 2% tolerance. What happens if the 2% tolerance causes a dispute? Does it refute it? How does the system handle it? Or does it go to the board?
Excellent question. Okay, so the tolerance percentage that we input on the blockchain is based on the real terms and conditions between the buyers and the seller, right? Remember, we have two copies. One is CISG compliant, and then another one is a smart contract reflecting the same terms and conditions. So if the buyer and seller, they say, okay, the tolerance percentage is going to be 2%, then I will adjust this on the blockchain and I will put it 2% as well. Now, in case there is a dispute because of this, then we have alternative dispute resolution like arbitration in order to sort out the differences that happen because of the tolerance. And just in case our audience is wondering what is tolerance, it's like I'm sending 1,000 quantity of laptops, okay? And if the percentage of tolerance is 2%, it means I can, or 100 laptops, I can remove 2 laptops, no problem. And I can say, okay, 98 laptops are gonna be fine, it's okay. Okay, so it's more or less than 2 usually, but if there is any problem and the dispute happening because of this, we go to arbitration. But artificial intelligence is not going to do anything about it, unfortunately. Yes, but I hope I answered your question. Thank you. Thank you. Any other question, ladies and gentlemen? Yes?
What's the average cost of registering a smart contract on the Ethereum.
Yes, that's amazing. Okay, this is a job that I quit. I will tell you why, sir. And thank you very much for your question. And the reason I say this, I like always to share personal experiences. You know, so when I was a blockchain developer, I used to create contracts on the blockchain of Ethereum specifically because we had big companies asking me for consultation and creating tokens and cryptocurrencies, etc. Now the job itself is easy, but one single mistake, you're going to end up losing thousands of dollars. Why? Because at the time, the cost of developing a smart contract for a token was about $4,000. One single mistake, I can lose $4,000 on the spot. On the spot. Now remember, the company that is asking me for consultation, they actually pay for this. So they send me the money, they tell me, Hatem, tell us how much, and create the token for us, and here is the money. So I received the money, I used the money in order to create the token, but my heart was jumping, up and down, shaking a bit, because I have to be like 100% focused and meditating, in front of the screen. I have to make sure that everything is top-notch, executed. One single mistake and can lose a lot of money. Now, that was during $4,000, that was during the Bitcoin last bubble, right? We reached it, and the Bitcoin bubble affects actually the contract's prices, okay? When it comes to gas costs. So when the Bitcoin reaches a bubble peak, everything is gonna be very expensive. But right now we don't have, thankfully, a bubble, which is an investment opportunity, in my opinion, for myself, not investment advice. But what you basically do now is that you're gonna find that the contract is way less cheap. We are talking about $1,500 on the Ethereum blockchain rather than the $4,000 that I had to charge my clients for, okay? Now, another advice, I highly recommend that you don't use Ethereum if you have a project that is a baby project. You want to do some testings and you want to start, again, poco, right, like in Espanol. And you want to start step by step. You can use Binance rather than Ethereum, way cheaper. You can just pay $50 and you can create your smart contract that is recording all information between buyers and sellers on the blockchain. And it's not going to cost, as you can see, much compared to the Ethereum blockchain. Now, Binance is a replica of Ethereum. If you know how to use Ethereum, you know how to use Binance. It's as simple as this, right? And this is how you can empower yourself with also knowledge that might be helpful in the future for development purposes. And ladies and gentlemen, it is easy. I swear it's easy. It's easy. It's really easy to become, a smart contract developer. Especially now with artificial intelligence, you can actually do it. I believe so. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Dr. Pavan Dugal. I'm the president of the International AI Accountability Forum.
Excellent.
I'm a lawyer in the Supreme Court of India with 37 years of practice.
Impressive.
So good to connect up. Quick question.
Yes.
Most of the legal frameworks on AI yet do not walk in the direction of smart contracts. In fact, there's hardly any connection between them. But somewhere as we look for responsible AI governance, we'll have to look at accountability, and I believe smart contracts
Yes.
can play a very important role. In India, we've created something known as the AI accountability framework.
Amazing.
And the agentic AI liability framework. Because as AI agents enter into smart contracts
Yes.
with each other, there'll be a need for looking at the legalities
Yes.
and addressing, considering that most of the countries do not have dedicated legislation on blockchain or
Yes.
on smart contracts.
Yes.
So we'll have process on the same, and happy to collaborate with you.
Oh, thank you very much. It's a pleasure. And please let's exchange contact points together after the session.
Sure.
Yes, this is very important actually. There is some legal ambiguity when it comes to blockchain governance and AI governance until now, unfortunately. I mean, take a look at Egypt, for example. By the way, I'm dual. I'm Mexican Egyptian. So you look at the Egyptian law and you find out that they took the shortcut, ban blockchain technology, done. That's it. If we see you using blockchain technology for, mining purposes, legal purposes, or cryptocurrency purposes, you're going to be unfortunately become in trouble, right? So this is the easy route because the government is scared. They don't know what they are dealing with. Yeah, this is a challenge actually. So what the government is doing is that just ban it. We are scared of this thingy, this monster that is about to take our banks and do some interference when it comes to our governance. This is the easy shortcut, but then you find other countries, like for example, Gibraltar, right? This is very close to Spain, and they are absolutely a hub, a very good hub actually for when it comes to initial coin offerings, technological innovation, smart contract integration. You have also things like the Silicon Valley Arbitration and Mediation Center. This is a bunch of lawyers, including my own professor actually is one of the members. And what they did is that they created their international commercial arbitration that they call smart arbitration. So it's a smart arbitration. What is a smart arbitration? It's a bunch of lawyers who are experts in blockchain technology, artificial intelligence, and they are capable of sorting disputes that are related to technology because they have the know-how, the knowledge, and the expertise. And this is quite impressive because I don't need to go to judges, national judges, that are taking 5 years in order to approx 5 years in order to dispute a case, when on the other hand, I can go to my professor, who is in Silicon Valley Arbitration Mediation Center, and tell him, hey, Professor Frank Emmert, I would like you please to appoint an arbitrator to sort this dispute that is recorded on the blockchain. We need your expertise, we need your know-how and intelligence to sort this out, So, by the way, just in case you're interested, the Silicon Valley Arbitration Mediation Center membership is free for, they have a young program. You all look young to me, so they have a young program. This younger professional program is really fascinating. Even when it comes to my students, I encourage them to subscribe for this service. But then above 40, like myself, you're going to have to pay membership. But again, this shows you that there are experts in the fields that are willing to step in and to do arbitration that is smart. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Smart Arbitration. Another topic that is worthy of mention, maybe in the future. Hopefully we meet one day as well. Thank you very much. I hope I didn't take much of your time, but I really appreciate the engagement. Please feel free to take one of my cards and do not forget, of course, to smash it in LinkedIn with QR codes and everything. Thank you very much. Thank you.